Instead, in an effort to curb the rising youth crime rate, the government in the city built the park to provide a place for its youth to engage in wholesome recreation. When the youth center and the skateboard park were finished, the government wanted a church congregation to hold its worship services in the community youth center facility. The community leaders felt that the presence of a church would have a positive moral influence on the youth who used the park. They invited several churches of various Christian denominations, but only one accepted: the church that had Sabbath school and worship on Saturday morning. These Adventist church members were excited about moving into the center, for the skateboarders were a part of the group they wanted to reach. The local church definition of church is a community that does not exist for itself. This should be the definition for all our churches as well.
Would we be willing to do a skateboard church? Would anybody here be willing to do a skateboard church? I would. What would be the excuses not to do a skateboard church?
Too noisy inside.
But you know, that noise would remind us that they are aware of the fact that we are here. And that any time they might just take their skateboard right up to the thing, leave the skateboards park, you know, and come on in.
You know, it'd be cool if they started giving some refreshments to those kids, and they could start building relationships.
Because this is on the Sabbath. Now, what issue else would be arising? You know, kids not supposed to be playing on the Sabbath. That's how some say they have to.
No.
Wow.
Those kids are not a Seventh-day Adventist.
There's all kind of issues you got to look at, you know, and arise. And when you do an outreach to a community, there's always going to be some people in the church that will know we can't change this because that ain't godly, it's a Sabbath thing. There's issues always going to arise to keep us from going forward.
The big issue would be they will have a bad influence on our kids.
Yeah.
That would be a hotly debated issue right there.
Did you know that this school expelled me because of that same reason what you just said? I was a bad influence on the rest of the kids. Because I was leading them in the wrong direction. But you know what? It wasn't me. They thought it was me, but it wasn't. Right over here, this property right here, there was 3 guys over there smoking a cigarette. I just happened to walk in when they was doing it. Mr. Swafford, Bill Swafford, was a teacher at that time. And he happened to come over here. Somebody told me he was over there. And I walked up. They was already smoking. I just happened to walk up there. And I got caught with them. But they figured I'm the one who was leading it. They thought it was marijuana. They tried to tell me it was marijuana. And I said, no, it's just cigarettes. But they already had a thing out for me that I was a bad influence on the rest of the children. So they come up with the idea that we expel him and don't let him back in anymore. So I started going to public school. And that's why I started selling drugs. Because they made a decision that I was a bad influence to my children. Me being a child at the time, 12 years old. These are things when we are leaders and we make these decisions to push one out to save the rest. You know, one bad apple spoils the whole. You know? Sometimes you need to think that real hard when you're dealing with children. And if it's a skateboard thing, and if it's reaching out to them, even if it is on the Sabbath, we're not teaching them to break the Sabbath. Remember, love never fails. Love should be what drives us to reach out to anyone. Period. Sunday's lesson. Jonah and Nineveh. I like Jonah. I really do.
He's a real pain in the butt,
But you know why I like him? You know why I like him? Because it deals with Seventh-day Adventists. It does. To the point to where, we don't want to go save that person because they're not good enough to be in our church.
they don't look like us. I've had them say they don't look like us, and if they dress like us, and they were serious. They weren't trying to put on. They said, I wouldn't go up to a person if they didn't, if they dress like you or act like this, but I wouldn't go up to them to try to encourage them because, and they were serious. They weren't putting on. And so I said, so what would a person dress like or look like need you? If they look like you, maybe they don't really need you, you know. But yeah, we're showing up.
Yeah, but you see, this is a personal thing with Jonah. These are the people who took food from him and his family.
Yeah.
And Ninevites, they were in control.
Yeah, they were.
And that's why Jonah wanted to see the city destroyed. He had a personal vendetta against these people. That was his personal enemy. And he knew.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, it is. How can you love somebody that you know has done slapped you, beat you down, and shot some of your children or your family?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Doing it for one.
The AME church downtown did a good job of it, didn't they? They loved the man who killed their family. And he's getting ready to go up for federal trial right now. And they're trying to do the death penalty. And it could possibly happen. It could possibly happen. And if it did, it would be fitting. You know why? Look at all the people who killed. But Jesus says what? Yeah. So really, we shouldn't kill him too. Even though he did it wrong. He deserves to die. The Bible says if blood, remember in the beginning of Genesis, God told him, said if blood is from this person, blood will be required of that person.
He's following the law.
Yeah.
What he considered needed to be done.
Yeah.
One thing that I found very interesting in here was comparing Jesus' ministry with Jonah.
Oh, yeah.
And the more I thought about that, the more overwhelming it was, because here, Jonah was tremendously successful, beyond belief.
And he didn't want to be successful.
To me, it shows how God can work no matter where we are at. Because even those pagan sailors,
Yeah.
they gave their hearts to God as well. I told Chester, the thing that blows my mind is like everybody in this story is saved except Jonah. We don't know about him. Because it ends with a question down at the bottom. And when you look, Jesus died on the cross alone. It looked like he had been successful at all. And then here, Jonah had millions.
Yeah.
It just, to me, the lesson in this is we're not supposed to be looking at the harvest. What we're supposed to be doing is planting seeds and nurturing all those stages of growth in between. That God would love.
But the reason why he was so successful, even though he didn't want to be, he did what God asked him. Well, he got forced to, but God showed him the light. Hey, when he come out that well, he was ready to go.
So don't put me back in there.
But he got his attention. Hey, it took me 4 times to go to prison before I seen the light. 4 times.
We still have that attitude.
I do too. I do too on some things. But let me touch on a subject here that's, there are some people in our church, in every church, that have mental issues. And some of us want to avoid those particular people because of that. Because of the things they do or their attitudes or their characters. Those are the hardest ones to love. It really is. And the reason they are is because they're different from us. They have mental issues. They say things that are not the norm. They do things that are unusual. Things that we shouldn't do. But again, they're here in our church. We need to learn to love those. That's the hard ones. That's the hard ones. On Sunday's lesson, would someone read the paragraph there? It says in 24. Someone read that, please.
In Jonah 4, the prophet Jonah sits down east of the great city of Nineveh. He has delivered the message of doom that God has entrusted to him. He reflects on his journey, his reluctance to come to Nineveh, his runaway tactics, God's insistence in getting Jonah back on mission, the 3-day episodes in the fish, and the long journey inland from the coast. And for what? For God to turn around and show his grace and to these despicable people? The people repented, but Jonah now feels betrayed. He feels dishonored and used. His hope has been that the destruction of this heathen city of 120,000 inhabitants would show God's preference for his chosen people and vindicate Jonah's hatred for the Ninevites.
What do you think, Thomas? Would you feel the same way as Jonah?
No. Jonah forgot.
I don't know. I might feel the same way. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
I may have felt the
that
same.
would be honest. If we were to say that, we're supposed to be honest with each other, right?
Yeah.
Remember, the Ninevites killed his family,
That's
took
good.
his loved ones, his children, took his food from him.
Going back to what you said initially about the being of the church of God, I still have a problem with being, I know what these people did was correct. I know, that they, and I know that I would have to forgive in order to be forgiven. But that's one difficult thing for me to come across. To me to come to
I think that'd be difficult for anybody.
Yeah, it would be, but
To forgive someone
that did such
that you know killed your wife or your daughter.
Yeah.
Or your,
yeah, my dad, or my, and I'm going to say, oh, well, okay, I forgive you. It's it's not okay, but I forgive you because what's forgiveness? How do I forgive? What is forgiveness?
what is forgiveness?
Yeah.
Forgiveness comes from Corinthians 13. Love keeps no record of wrong. Love never gets angry. It always perseveres. It always hopes. It never gives up. It never fails. Forgiveness is that love.
I think it's a gift from God.
Oh yeah.
We ask for it. It's not something that we do naturally.
Some people take longer than others to forgive, and then some hang on to it for a long, long time.
some say forgive, not forget.
Yeah.
Well, the forgetting part is, yes, we're supposed to forget. God has to do that. He truly has to work with me and get that behind me, because every time I see the results of that problem, I have to ask God to help me to forget, because it will, as it keeps coming up, I have to deal with it.
Well, I'm not, did I forgive before I forget? I mean,
Forgive.
if I've still got that memory there, did I forgive? Well,
That's
in my
part of
mind,
the,
I have a problem.
that's part of the Christian walk. See,
Yeah,
I still think about doing cocaine, but I don't do it.
right.
And
It
where
still
did it
comes
come
up
from?
behind.
I've been praying sometimes, and I have thoughts about doing drugs. Where did that come from? It's
The devil.
us. It's part of the
Yeah, I
flesh.
did that for you. But I mean, like, if she walks up and sprays my family, okay, I forgive you. But every time I see her, or every time I think about my family, is that, did I really forgive her?
Well, that's why you get on your knees and ask God to help you.
It's a process. It's a process. You got to go through this process over and over again.
Jerry wanted to say something.
Uh,
You forgot?
I was wondering what you think about why God picked Jonah. Why didn't he pick somebody else that, would have gladly gone?
He picked Jonah because Jonah had a problem. God knew it.
Saved him.
Jonah
just saved him. And thank God that he wants to save
Jonah. There's a problem with Jonah after reading the text he just read. Jonah forgot how God had saved him.
Yeah.
When he saved him, after he threw him overboard into the water, God sent the fish to save his life. He forgot that, but he was still against the Ninevites.
Yeah. It's the same thing like you're saying. How can you forget that? See, Jonah's still dealing with his family being killed. He sees the Ninevites as the ones who took his family out, and they was taking the family. They come out. The Israelites was planning and harvesting. Nobody's going to take the food back from him.
Yes. I don't think you can ever forget, and I'm not sure that you should forget, but forgetting and forgiveness are two different things. But just like sin, when something becomes sin, we all are tempted. You have to make a decision in your mind that you're going to do it before it's sin. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be tempted. There's a point you have to pass.
When you're praying for forgiveness and you see that person and you still harbor bad feelings, you have not forgiven. When you're able to see that person, and I've had been through this experience, so I know it works. When you can see that person and you no longer feel yourself pull like this, whatever, then you can pray, oh yeah. Then you praise God that He has taken that. And I can tell you that once you get to that stage, it's not long before you're seeing that person and you've moved on and you're talking about other things and you're not even thinking about that bad experience where they crushed you or whatever. So it takes time, but for me personally, I don't feel like forgiveness has really come until I can see that person and I don't feel my gut just wrenching inside. When I move past that and I can think of the moment and speaking to them and being kind and loving, then I know that God has healed my heart and I am now moving forward.
And you have now forgiven.
I have been forgiven. I feel that I have forgiven.
I'm going to feel wise.
Yeah. But you know, the neat thing about that too is on that journey, as it took me years with a gut feeling about certain people because they were not just, they didn't kill anybody, they just tore down character. It was just like piece by piece. They was just scattering things about me that I knew was not true, but they were enjoying doing it. There was malicious type thing. And I got to the point where I just said, Lord, I can't handle this. And I don't plan to go to hell for these people. So, yeah, I wasn't going to let them take me to hell as well. So my basic thing is, Lord, you got to take control of my heart and my views and my feelings. And it was kind of cool. The Lord just said, pray for them every time you think about them. I did that every time they came to my mind, or I met them at church or whatever. It was cool. I just said, Lord, whatever is happening in their lives right there, please bless them. And I got to the point where I could give them a hug and it was real, but God had to do that.
So how long did it take for you to be able to give them a hug?
About 6 years. Well, I'm being serious. Well, it was about 6 years, and finally, I finally got to the point where, Lord, I could see them and not dislike them, and it was pity. The Lord kept saying, pity them, that they have nothing else to do but tear down your character. Pity them, and I started doing that, and then the love started coming in. But it took about 6 years. And I'm sad to say that, but it did.
I think, though, it's a lot of work to bear a grudge.
Yes.
It's a lot of work.
Yes, it is.
And you have to come to the conclusion it's simply not worth it. It's too much trouble to have to bear that grudge.
It's bad for the health too.
Yes, I was about to say, it was
Bad
really
for our
tearing
health.
my health
To
down.
hold a grudge, to be angry,
Constantly
and furious.
remember.
Yes.
Much blood pressure
remember.
up. If you've got high blood pressure, you're looking for a heart attack
Yeah.
or a stroke. It's not worth it. It really isn't.
It's not
It's
worth
not good for life. Although there's times that we will go through it, we will endure it because we're human. It's when you go through it enough, if you walk closer with God, that you will have lesser episodes of those anger moments, or should I say anger management. There's things that we need to do that to not allow ourselves to get into that. And I'm guilty of it.
Personalities also plays a big part into this. One of the things they'll tell you about, especially people with melancholy personalities, that they are like a cow chewing its cud. They just love to bring it up and chew on it some more and whatever. Other personalities tend to live in the moment, and then they can move forward. I think it affects everybody. But there are certain personalities that letting go of the past is hard, especially if you are big on the melancholy side. But God knows what our personalities are and our tendencies are, and He knows how to work through that and then work with us too. And to me, that's compassion at the highest level.
Yes.
Somewhat of a real life example of forgiveness. I got two little marks on my arm. I was doing some work one day and I had a grinder, and without realizing it had jumped, it had missed the metal and it hit me 2 times. I didn't even know it hit me. And it cut down to the bone, this one right here. It never bleed because it's high speed and hot. So it soldered the thing. So I never knew it was there until after I finished it. After I happened to look at my hand, I saw the white flesh and said, whoa. Now,
You got white down?
it's not Praise the Lord. But the forgiveness is what it's kind of like that. Now, if I keep picking at this scar, it'll never really heal, right? And if we can't constantly regurgitate our anger and all that, we will never forgive if we do that. But you know, over a period of time, this thing healed, and look at it. And I really don't even notice it. And that's what we have to get to. The scar is still there. I don't feel the pain. I don't hurt. And I don't try to reopen the wound again. I let it go. But it's there. So I'm somewhat, it's a reminder here. And we got to get to that point where we can just totally just go on with our lives without really recognizing the fact that somebody, we've been injured by somebody. That's the forgiveness and the forgetting part. But if we constantly regurgitate it over and over again, we'll never forgive. We hadn't really forgiven. Because we'll always have that little anger way up in us, like Caswell said also. So we got to really get over that.
The neat thing with getting over it is that you have grown a step higher. So you can hear people saying and doing things the same as what somebody else previously did, and it just goes over your head.
Yeah.
We can't help others overcome that we hadn't overcome.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
We can't help others get through moments like that we had.
Right.
It's impossible. And God wants us to be there to help others. So in order for we to be able to do it, we have to get over it.
Let's go to Luke chapter 19, verses 38 and 42. Would someone read that, please?
Luke what?
Luke chapter 19, verses 38 and 42.
Saying, blessed be the King that comes in the name of the Lord, peace in heaven and glory in the highest.
Verse 42.
42.
All the way to 42.
Oh, wait for it.
Yeah, 38 and 42.
Okay. And some of the Pharisees from among the multitude said unto him, Master, rebuke thy disciples. He answered and said unto them, I tell you that if these should hold their peace, stones will immediately rise up. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, If thou hadst known, even thou, at least it is this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes.
It says that Jesus cried when he looked at Jerusalem that day.
Wept over Jerusalem.
Yes. Cried. Why do you think Christ cried when he looked at Jerusalem? Was he thinking of the Jews or everybody?
Everybody, but
Everybody got it.
rejected by the Jews, and him could see Jerusalem, the million or so people that were going to die because they didn't.
He could see it being burned down in AD 70, knowing that.
We also could see how much he tried to draw and rule them in the past, thousands of years. He sent prophets, he put them in captivity, he had done everything he could think of to do to save them, which he does for us.
Which goes right back to our memory verse now. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem.
There was no real Christians left in Jerusalem when the Romans sacked the place. They had left when the first general came. Those people that stayed in there were lost.
Burned. Because that's what the Romans did. They burned their cities.
But they had a chance to leave.
Well, God said it was going to happen. He told the disciples, and something God says, you can take it to the bank. It's going to happen. Hussein tried to rebuild Bethlehem, didn't he? Where's he at? What happened? He said, no, but that ain't going to happen. I said it ain't going to happen. Don't even try. But Hussein, well, he tried it. So he hung for his duties, what he did. And the bad thing about it is America put him in that position. Our American government put that man in that position. That's why we need to pray for our government authorities. I mean, seriously and hard. Because look at the next two that might be our president. I already asked God, I said, Lord, I don't know which one I need to pray for the most because there's no lesser of the two evils there. Period.
Well, God's in control. He told Pilate that he wouldn't have any power. I put Pilate in control.
Yeah.
So whoever gets in there.
Well, it's always going to be the one we don't want, so it might be Hitler.
Not necessarily.
Or we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will. But we will pray for whoever it is wanting.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's not the one that we as individuals might want. It's might be one that might be nice one might do. Think about it.
Well, God has a purpose for each person in authority. Each president is put in that position for God's will to be done.
Amen.
It's up to us to find out what it was and what it's for.
Amen.
Makes you well for it.
On Sunday's lesson, it said that 800 years after Jonah, Jesus rides on a donkey over the crest of a hill overlooking Jerusalem. Shouts of praise to the King who comes in the name of the Lord are heard, along with echoes of hope, declaring peace in heaven and glory in the highest. In the midst of this triumphal entry, as Jesus approaches the city, he stops and weeps, saying, "If you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace." Note the contrast. Jonah reluctantly obeyed the command of God, caring little for the good of the inhabitants of Nineveh. Jesus approaches Jerusalem with one burden on his heart, that they might have the salvation he offers at such a high cost. Two cities, Nineveh and Jerusalem. Two messengers, Jonah and Jesus. The difference is obvious. Jesus exemplifies the selfless, caring attitude that desires the good of the people. May we, through God's grace, reveal that same attitude as Jesus did toward the lost. The question at the bottom there says, how might selfishness play into the attitude that leaves someone unconcerned about the salvation of others? Anybody want to respond to that?
Well, I think, maybe the church, our church, is guilty of this, that we're not really spreading the gospel, we're not talking to the neighbor, we're not inviting people, we're not doing what we need to do. Mentioned earlier, the rock and cry out. We've got the privilege of being able to do that with God. But if we don't, then the rocks will cry out because the gospel is going to be known to everybody, and they're going to know right where to go, and they're going to have to make that choice. So some way or other, it's going to have to be through us, or the rocks are going to cry out.
And I wouldn't want no rock speaking for me. We'd be guilty. Monday's lesson. Anyway, Tom,
When you think of the parable of the Good Samaritan, which of the three was selfish?
which of the three was selfish?
Which of the three people? The Samaritan, the priest, the Levite. Which one was selfish?
It had to be the priest of the Levite.
Okay, so why were they selfish?
Because they had interest. One didn't want to get his clothes contaminated.
They were thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
They're thinking about themselves. That's to me, that's what selfishness is not. Well, not the church, but us personally. What causes us to be selfish to the degree that we don't help others?
We always had good excuses.
You know, so,
well, today is my wife's birthday. I have to take her out. Oh, I already had plans before. I can't do this. I don't like that person.
oh, I got stuff on my front seat. I'm driving down the. I've got things on my front seat. I can't stop. I know you. You're no problem. I can't stop right now. Pick you up. There's stuff on my front seat. I don't feel like stopping to move it all out of place. I can give you a ride.
You know, I had a conviction one time, and this is before I came to church. And I was a drug dealer. I had drugs in the trunk of the car, and I had stopped and picked up a hitchhiker. I passed him, and something overwhelmed me, made me turn around and go back and pick him up. And I was on I-95 in Florida. He had just got out of prison, and I didn't know it. And he was telling me he needed a ride somewhere, and I gave him a ride somewhere, and I gave him some money. But I had such an overwhelming conviction to go back and pick up that person. I couldn't turn it down. And I wasn't in the church then, but trust me, I had 100 pounds of marijuana in the trunk. But something, God or something, came over me to turn around and come back and pick me up. I'm glad I did. Glad I did.
Tom says what makes us that way? We're already there.
Yeah, we're born
We're
that way.
born that way.
That's selfish. That's true.
And even, I like later on here, later Friday, when she talked about, wanting to look good.
Yeah.
Like our church look good, we need more baptisms, so let's do what we need for our church to look good. Pastors get promoted when they look good. Yeah, a lot of good things come when you look good. So, to me,
1,000
that
baptisms
is
ain't
big
good
difference.
unless you have 1,000 people standing in the church.
But you know what? The numbers get reported to the conference.
That's where it is.
So you get these accolades,
To
that
me,
you're really growing and you look good and everything. And if they don't stay, oh well, but the numbers went in.
And on the back end, those who leave, those numbers are reported a long time afterwards.
Wait, yeah.
Yes, because we don't want to let the names off of the books. Or go see folks, look for them, When we go, if we go and look for these people, you'll be surprised to hear why they came in and went right on back out. But we have to care enough to go. We gotta go.
Yeah.
And find these
So
people.
what am I going to go towards?
When one person decides, I am going to go look for this person, did you come and go with me? I don't think as a church, we're going to ever have that energy to just say, let's go.
Why not? Why can't we do that?
So,
Why don't we, right now, as a collective group here today, come to an agreement? Just what you said. Let's all go. Let's pick a day and do it. Yeah. Why can't we do that?
Because we'll have excuses. No, I'm serious, because I've
Why
asked
did you
people.
point to you on?
I've asked people, and I said, well, I can't go today, you know, and I can't go tomorrow, you know, and so you end up,
Yeah. So if we don't start working, we're going to become dead. We can come to church, we can do our Sabbath school studies, and we can go back home. But if we're not doing anything to reach out, we're dead. There's no works to prove it. If Christ is living in us,